Today I'm behind the wheel of a brand new 2021 Audi Q7. Now the Q7 was redesigned back in 2020, so for 2021 there isn't a whole lot of changes, just a few subtle tweaks made by Audi. However, with that said, the Audi Q7 is one of the best luxury midsize SUVs you could buy today. And if you want to learn more about it, keep watching. I want to give a big thanks to Audi Westmont for making this video possible. So if you're in the market for a brand new or used Audi, definitely check them out. Their URL is in the description and on the screen. Starting with the outside, the Audi Q7 received a redesigned exterior, interior, and another engine option in 2020, so for 2021 there are only subtle changes. The front end now has the same polygon grille that you see across the entire lineup. This one is equipped with the black optics package, which blacks out the grille, all exterior trims, and roof rails, and comes with 21-inch wheels. All Q7s receive LED daytime running lights and LED headlights, but this Prestige comes with matrix design LED headlights which provide better looks and illumination. The side of the Q7 has a lifted hatchback look with big wheel fenders popping out. The window trims, door cladding, roof rails are all black and part of the black optics package I've talked about. The wheels that you see here are actually optional 22-inch wheels which really fill out the wheel wells nicely. The back of the Q7 features a shark fin antenna, spoiler, LED taillights, and some black cladding underneath. There are no exhaust tips, and this one is equipped with the towing package. The Q755 can tow an impressive 7,700 pounds, while the Q745 can tow 4,400 pounds. All Q7s come with a hands-free power liftgate, and behind the third row seats, as you can see, there's a good amount of cargo space. On the left side, there are some power functions for the air suspension and for folding up and down the third row seats. There is no hidden storage underneath the bottom cover, unfortunately. The power function for the third row is rather slow and you have to keep holding down the buttons, otherwise they just stop. Once all the rows are down, you have ample amount of cargo room. Moving to the second row, all Q7s come with leather upholstery, standard, and bench seating. Strangely enough, Audi does not offer captain chair setup in the second row for the Q7. Getting back to the third row is a two-step process. First, pull on the lever on the side to fold down the seat back, then use the seat back handle to lift up the seat. Third row legroom is very tight as the second row has to be moved up quite a bit for me to fit. There is one cup holder and vent on each side. No USB ports. There are also power folding buttons on each side to make it easier to lift up or down the third row from the second row. This Prestige comes with 4-zone climate control in the second row, along with rear heated seats which become standard for the Prestige in 2021. There's also a 12V outlet, USB-C ports, and sunshades. As for space, I'm 5 feet 10 and I have about 45 inches of legroom and about the same with headroom. The seats also do slide and recline. By the way, this Prestige also comes with soft closing doors, which is a very nice feature to have. Up front, the new tri-screen dash and center console along with the piano black panels give this Q7 a futuristic and stylish look. For 2021, Prestige trims now also receive leather-wrapped armrest and center console. The leather-wrapped steering wheel has a good look and it feels great. Buttons on the right is for the phone and voice commands, music scrolling, volume, and favorites. Buttons on the left is for controlling the virtual cockpit. There are also paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. The virtual cockpit is standard on all trims and it replaces the entire gauge cluster with a digital one. You could scroll in the middle and see things like fuel economy, trip computer, driver assistant features, and you can also scroll left and right for music, phone navigation, and other things. You can also change your view where the tachometer speedometer shrinks down so you could get a bigger view of, say, the navigation screen. That's very cool. To the left of the steering wheel, you have some light controls, memory seats, mirror controls for the heated power folding mirrors, and you also have buttons for the child safety locks right up front. Moving to the infotainment screen, everything is touch and you have 5 quick menus on the left side for navigating: home, radio, music, phone, and navigation. There are also more menu items on the main screen. Now the screen is bright and responsive, but the touch feature is a little confusing. Some things like scrolling left and right, you can simply swipe left and right. However, if you want to select a menu item, you have to push down on the screen until it clicks. It's kind of a weird implementation for a touchscreen. Now moving below to the climate control screen, it's the same setup. You have to make sure you touch hard enough to make sure the screen clicks before input is received, and this is annoying for things like setting up temperature. On top, you have a row of virtual buttons for engine auto start stop, hill descent, addresses, home link, and this is an unusual place to put it, and a heads-up display. There is heated and ventilated seats. There's also various driving modes that you can select: all-road, comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. This Prestige also comes with parking aids and 360 display. The system stitches all the camera views together for a really cool 360 view of what's around your Q7. Below, you have a fancy shifter. Pushing up goes into reverse and pushing down goes into drive. Press P for park. Underneath the armrest, there is a wireless charging pad and 2 more USB-C ports. On top, you have a giant panoramic sunroof. As for engines, there are 2 to choose from. The Q745 comes with a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, producing 248 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 comes in around 6.9 seconds. Now the Q755 comes with a 3-liter V6, producing 335 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. This engine is attached with a mild 48-volt hybrid motor. 0 to 60 comes in around 5.7 seconds. Both engines are mated to an 8-speed automatic. Alright, I'm on the road. Let's see how good this brand new Q7 is and how it drives. Now to start out, I did review a 2019 Audi Q7 before. That was the last generation, right before the redesign. And I remember I really loved that Q7. I remember the suspension was very soft and comfortable, and it didn't even have the air suspension. And I remember it was quiet, it was spacious, had a lot of tech, and overall I just really enjoyed that SUV. So I'm really anxious to see how this new generation is and how it compares. So right out the bat, I had a little bit of straightaway, so I was able to test out acceleration under full throttle. That was going about 25 to about 60 miles per hour. During that full throttle acceleration, it felt okay. Honestly, I thought it would feel faster, because 5.7 0 to 60, that's a pretty good number, and I've driven other cars with similar numbers that felt more lively. Somehow, this Q7 didn't feel as fast as it should have, and that's weird, because the smaller brother, the Q5 with the base engine, actually felt faster for some reason, even though it's similar in acceleration times. So that's a little weird. However, with that said, around town, you know, when you're not just gunning it, it's a really beautiful engine. I've been driving around for a little bit already, and it's a very quiet and smooth engine. The throttle feel is near perfect. The transmission is keeping the revs perfectly, so you never feel like you're slow or in the wrong gear, nothing like that. So around town, it's very nice. What's also very nice and hasn't changed from the last generation is this suspension. Around town right now, it is so comfortable. It is so comfortable. Yes, this is the Prestige, and this one does have the executive package, so it does add on the air suspension, and man, is it good. It's soaking up everything. It's like you're driving on clouds. I mean, it is very comfortable, and here's the kicker. This one is equipped with optional 22-inch wheels. Yes, 22-inch. So you know that the sidewall on the tires is very thin, and with that, it's still a beautiful ride. So this suspension is fantastic. I can't imagine if you went with, you know, the stock 19-inch or even 20-inch, how much more comfortable it would be with smaller wheels. So yeah, the suspension hasn't changed. It's very nice. But also the steering feel is also very nice. It's very nice. It's right now in my driving mode, I'm in auto. So a little bit I'll change the dynamic and see how it changes things. But in auto, it's trying to learn my habits right now. But steering is good. It has a decent weight, kind of like a lighter weight, but overall for this car, I think it works. Precision isn't bad. I mean, slight wiggle in the steering wheel in terms of play, but very little. So I do like it. It doesn't really feel artificial. You know, every steering these days is power steering, so sometimes you come across a car that just really feels numb and artificial. I don't get that sense with this steering. So the steering also very nice, and it complements the suspension really nice, which complements this very nice engine and transmission. As I'm sitting here reflecting on this new cabin and this dash, the center console design with the piano black panels everywhere and the screens, you have 3 screens here, right? In pictures and video in person, this looks like $1 million. It really does. Here's the kicker though. The downside is because everything is piano black, it's really prone to fingerprints. When things are on, it's not so bad, but when things are off, you see fingerprints everywhere. That's the one downside to this. Also, speaking about this dual screen setup, this was obviously pulled from the Audi Q8, and now this is pretty much being spread across all of Audi's lineup. I think it works okay, but honestly, like the climate control area, I would prefer if those were physical buttons, like in the Q5. I know the Q5 hasn't been completely redesigned, and once it does, I'll probably get this dual screen setup, but I like the buttons better. You know, especially when you're looking down, it looks busy. There's a lot of virtual buttons everywhere, right? So now you're replacing physical buttons with virtual buttons, and it's distracting because I have to keep looking down to actually change the temperature, to change the auto setting or fan setting, ventilate AC, heated seats, and then you have buttons for your, you know, your heads-up display and all this other stuff, engine auto, start, stop. I mean, it's kind of cluttered, right? So I'm not so sure I'm a big fan of this dual screen setup. I actually think if the bottom portion, the climate control portion, along with some of those buttons were physical, I think it would be better. But that's just my taste. To me, the best part of the 3 screens has to be the virtual cockpit. This, without a doubt, is fantastic. It is really bright, really in your face, and the graphics look really nice. It's nice. It's really well designed. There's 2 views. Obviously, in the middle, you get to scroll through 100 different menu items. You can see your trip computer, safety system, TPMS, you know, your oil gauge, fuel gauge, all that stuff, right? And you can scroll through like media, navigation. But what I really like is you can change views. So like, for example, if you're in a navigation view, you can change it so it displays across the whole virtual cockpit, and you can zoom in and out, and it's really nice. I really like that. I think this is the best screen out of the 3 screen setup. Although, technically, I guess there's a 4th screen because you do get a heads-up display in here, and that's also nice. It's in your face. The interface for the heads-up display isn't the best looking, and it's kind of small. I mean, these days, manufacturers are making their heads-up display like enormous. Like, and it's huge and it has like every single detail you could think of. This one is a little bit limited, a little bit smaller, but overall, it gets the job done. As for cabin noise, very quiet. Don't really hear anything from the wind, slightly from the cars passing by, nothing from the road, and almost nothing from the engine, and nothing from the exhaust. So overall, it's a very quiet ride. Now, this executive package does have dual pane side windows, so it does help with that. Okay, as I'm coming to a stop, the brakes are good. They're a tad touchy, so meaning that it does come to a stop a little bit quicker than you expect. So a little touchy, a little twitchy, I should say, but outside of that, pretty predictable and good. So that time I tested acceleration, again, about 15, 20 to 60, but that time in dynamic mode. Overall, I did feel a little bit faster, but it wasn't a huge difference, just slightly faster. So if you wanted to get the most, you know, the most lively feel or drive or acceleration, you know, put it into dynamic mode. And what's good about dynamic mode is normally when you're in dynamic or sport mode, you know, the car tends to be a little bit too aggressive, like it holds the rev a little bit too much, and it's too loud and annoying. I don't get a sense of that right now. Now, as for these seats, they're comfortable, but I wish they were a little bit more comfortable. So obviously everything in here is in leather. It looks good. It definitely smells good, smells like leather. However, the seats up front, they're comfortable, but they're also a little stiff too. The bottom cushion especially feels a little stiff. The back cushions are good. The bolster's not too aggressive, holding me in. I feel like the back one is pretty good, but the bottom is a little stiff. I know you can opt for massage function, which this one is not equipped with. I bet that would make a big difference. I do want to test that out in the future. So overall, the seats are okay. I kind of expected a little bit softer cushioning, and that's not the case. Now, there are a couple things that bother me about this Q7. Number one is when you're in the trunk, you have the lift gate opened. It bothers me that there's no power folding second row. I do kind of expect that in a car of this class and this price range. You see it even on non-luxury cars, right? Because it is a pain if you're back there and you need to, you know, throw in a TV or something big and you want to fold down a second row, then you have to go into the second row and actually physically fold down every single seat. So that kind of bothers me that there's no power function for the second row anywhere inside this Q7. But also what bothers me is they're all USB-C ports, every single one. I know that the world is moving to USB-C, but most people still have a normal USB plug, I believe. So I was trying to charge a few of my accessories with me and I couldn't. There should at least be one regular USB port in there somewhere. As for safety system, you get it all. For 2021, Audi does make blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic warning standard across all trims, but besides that, everything else, you have, you know, emergency braking, pedestrian warning, you know, lane assist, adaptive cruise control. On this one, this Prestige, there's front and rear sensors, right? So pretty much everything you can think of. Also the ability to read traffic signs, right? Yeah, you get it all. And of course, you do have Quattro, right? And that is a really good thing. Quattro all-wheel drive, one of the best systems out there. So you know you're safe when you're behind the wheel of a Q7. Now, this engine is equipped with the auto start-stop functionality. And yes, there is a button, kind of a virtual button that you can turn it on or off above the climate control. But after testing a few times, this one is actually a pretty good one. This engine starts up pretty quickly, so almost to a point where you don't notice it. You still do, and you can still feel the vibration a little bit, but it's a really good one. It's not like some of the others I've tested that's really annoying. You just want to turn it off. So it's one of the better ones out there. As for visibility and driving position, both are good. Visibility, front visibility is good. The hood's a little bit higher than expected, but overall, nice big windshield up front. Also side windows, nice and big. Rear windows are big too. And the liftgate window is actually really big. Even with the third row headrest up, I can still see past them, so that's a good thing. So visibility overall, nice. Driving position, because this is a mid-size SUV, so I am sitting quite high, a little bit higher than the Q5, and I like that. A good commanding view, although it's not very high. And the seats, you know, and the visibility, everything combined, good. It's good. You definitely don't feel cozy in here, and I like that. I know some manufacturers try to make you feel like you have a cozy cabin, right? Not in this Q7. You're sitting high up and it feels very airy, and overall, I like it. So next up, let me talk about trim levels and pricing and give you my final thoughts about this brand new Q7. As for trims, there are 3 different trims to the new Q7. The base is the premium, and it starts right under $55,000 for the 45 engine and under $61,000 for the 55 engine. Next, you have the Premium Plus, and finally range-topping Prestige, which only comes with the 55 engine and it starts at $72,000. To conclude, the 2021 Audi Q7 builds upon the refresh in 2020, and this is a serious contender for the luxury midsize SUV segment. The Q7 provides a quiet and comfortable ride with a great suspension and steering feel. Visibility is good and the virtual cockpit is outstanding. There's a good amount of standard features along with standard safety features, which has been upgraded for 2021. As for the bad, the Q755's fuel economy is lower than its rivals, and the same goes with cargo room. The third row is very cramped and there are no power folding function for the second row. Captain chairs are also not available and all USB ports are the C type. Lastly, the dual screens with the piano black panels are all prone to fingerprints. I'm giving the brand new 2021 Audi Q7 Prestige a score of 100. To learn more about it and to see where it ranks, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Hit the like and subscribe to the channel and make sure to check out these other videos.